A bulky physique, a meager intellect. That's the impression I get when I observe you, black women. Suitable for serving meals, nothing beyond that. Richard Blake snatches the water pitcher from Claire Williams and spills its contents onto the floor. The sterling room falls into an immediate hush as ice cubes scatter across the marble and water begins to pool around her footwear. He's a multi-millionaire, clad in an Armani suit. He extracts his wallet. Banknotes land on the table, one after another, as 50 diners watch on. $100,000 if you can converse in Chinese, he declares to the assembled crowd. Just a single sentence. Prove there's something substantial between those ears. Claire remains standing. She's 29, a black woman in a server's uniform, her shoes now saturated with water. She stoops, retrieves the pitcher, and places it on his table. Her hands remain steady. Proceed, Richard challenges her. Astonish me. Everyone holds their breath. Have you ever been dehumanized, reduced to your physical attributes in the presence of strangers? What she uttered next left him visibly pale. Claire opens her mouth. What emerges isn't English. It is Mandarin Chinese. A flawless Beijing accent, every tone precise and distinct. The words flow as if she has been speaking this language her entire existence. She speaks for 15 seconds without interruption, each syllable delivered with the assurance of a native speaker. The subtitle appears on the screen. Sir, 3 minutes before you initiated this wager, I overheard you inform your Chinese business partner in Mandarin that you intend to defraud them on the Shanghai real estate transaction. Richard's fork slips from his grasp. It strikes the plate with a sound that reverberates through the silent room. But Claire has not finished. She transitions languages mid-sentence. Now Cantonese. The shift is so seamless it resembles a musical composition changing keys. Another 10 seconds of impeccable speech. Subtitle. You assumed I was merely a waitress, but I am, in fact, a linguistics master's graduate from Columbia University. Then she switches again. This time, Taiwanese Hakka. The pronunciation is so authentic that the Taiwanese businessman at table 7 sits upright, eyes wide with astonishment. Subtitle. My thesis explored how affluent individuals employ language to manipulate others. Thank you for tonight's live demonstration. One more transition back to Mandarin, but this time it's different, classical, ancient, the kind acquired only through the study of archaic texts. She quotes Confucius with the reverence of a scholar. Subtitle. Confucius stated, "The superior man is not a vessel. Yet, you treat people as mere instruments." Richard's complexion shifts from crimson to white within 5 seconds. His hand reaches for his water glass, but it shakes too violently. The glass topples. Water spreads across the table, drenching the $100 bills he had tossed down earlier. Mr. Peterson, the Chinese businessman at Richard's table, slowly rises, his chair scraping against the marble. He utters something in rapid Mandarin, his voice cold and sharp, then departs without a backward glance. 2 other partners follow him. Richard gazes at the vacant chairs, then at Claire, then at the soaked bills on his table. Someone in the restaurant begins to clap, then another person, then the entire room erupts. The applause is still ongoing when a man in his 50s emerges from the back office. William Davis, owner of the Sterling Group, has been observing the entire incident via the security camera. His expression is composed, but his eyes are sharp. He approaches table 12. Richard attempts to stand, tries to offer an explanation, but William raises a hand. Mr. Blake, I believe you have caused sufficient disruption in my establishment for one evening. Please settle your bill and depart. Richard's mouth opens, closes, then opens again. William, come on. We've been conducting business for 5 years. We were conducting business, William states. Past tense. Richard seizes his jacket, throws cash onto the table, and exits so swiftly that he nearly stumbles. His remaining partners scramble after him. The restaurant slowly returns to its normal state. Conversations recommence. Forks are once again in motion, but everyone continues to cast glances at Claire. William turns to her. He speaks in Mandarin. The question is casual, but the underlying test is evident. The subtitle appears, 8 languages. Claire responds without hesitation, also in Mandarin. Subtitle, 8 fluently, 3 more conversationally. William switches to Cantonese. Subtitle, when did you graduate? Claire replies in the same language. Subtitle, 2 years ago, Columbia University. William nods slowly. He's processing something. His expression shifts from impressed to something else. Perhaps guilt, realization. A French couple at table 9 calls out, speaking rapid French. Subtitle, wait, do you speak French? Claire turns to them, and when she speaks, her accent is pure Parisian. She discusses their wine pairing using technical culinary terms that impress the sommelier. The couple lights up, begins to ask her questions about the menu, and she answers each one with the kind of detail that prompts them to order 3 more courses. A German businessman from table 15 leans over. He says something in German. Subtitle, and German? She switches again, this time explaining the origin of each ingredient in their special dish using Hochdeutsch, so precise that the man actually stands up to shake her hand. Where did you train? He asks in English. Columbia University, Claire says. Masters in Linguistics, thesis on tonal language acquisition in multilingual environments. The restaurant has entirely forgotten about their food now. Everyone is observing this cascade of languages. This woman in a server's uniform speaking like a UN interpreter. William Davis has not moved. He stands there with his hands in his pockets, watching Claire interact with guests in 5 different languages. And his face wears a complicated expression. Pride mixed with shame. A Japanese businessman, Mr. Harrison, approaches from table 3. He has been quiet this entire time, merely observing. He speaks to Claire in Japanese using formal keigo that most non-native speakers cannot master. The words are polite but complex. She responds with the same level of formality, adding a Kyoto dialect flourish at the end that causes his eyebrows to rise. That's Kyoto dialect, he says in English, surprised. Very few non-native speakers can master that. Where did you study? Columbia, Claire says again. I spent a summer in Kyoto for my research. Mr. Harrison bows slightly, the kind of bow that signifies profound respect. I would like your card, he says. My company requires interpreters of your caliber. Greg Miller, the shift manager, has been standing near the bar this entire time. His arms are crossed. His face registers skepticism mixed with something resembling jealousy. Amber Johnson, another server, watches from the kitchen doorway. Her expression is harder to decipher. Surprise, certainly. Perhaps envy. William clears his throat. Claire, can you come to my office after your shift? She nods, picks up her water pitcher, and returns to work as if nothing extraordinary had just occurred. But the restaurant is not the same. Guests continue to call her over, asking questions in various languages, testing her, and every single time she answers perfectly. Some request her contact information, others take photographs with her. One table tips her $300 simply for explaining the menu in Spanish. By the end of the night, Claire has served 12 tables and spoken 8 different languages. Her tip jar is overflowing. Her feet ache. But there is a distinct change in the way she walks now, as if she has just recalled something about herself that she had forgotten. Claire's apartment is a 45-minute subway ride away. Studio rent is $2,000 per month, which is inexpensive for New York, but still consumes half her paycheck. The walls are thin enough to overhear neighbors arguing, but that is not why she is awake at 2 hours in the morning. Her mother, Diane, is 63 and has stage 4 lung cancer. The treatments have cost $923,000 so far. Insurance covered some, but not enough. The hospital sends bills every month, each one thicker than the last. Student loans add another $129,000. Columbia does not care that there are no jobs for linguistics graduates. They demand their money. So Claire puts on the uniform every day. She smiles at customers who do not truly see her. She carries plates and pretends her master's degree does not exist, because pretending is simpler than explaining. Tonight is different, however. She sits on her bed, still in her uniform, and opens her laptop, then her email. The folder labeled Rejections contains 43 messages, all identical. Overqualified, not the right fit, position filled. We've decided to proceed in a different direction. One email from 6 months ago still stings. While your credentials are impressive, we feel your experience is better suited for academic positions, not corporate ones. Also, we've found that candidates from Ivy League schools sometimes have difficulty adapting to our company culture. Translation: you are too educated to be black. You are too black to be educated. You do not belong anywhere. There is a photograph on her desk. Claire at her Columbia graduation, cap and gown, holding her diploma. Her mother beside her in a wheelchair, smiling so broadly it is painful to look. Diane said something that day. "Baby, you're going to change the world. I know it." 2 years later, Claire is changing people's water glasses. Her phone buzzes. A text from William Davis. "Office 10 a.m. tomorrow. We need to talk." She sets the phone down, looks at the photo again, the diploma on the wall, the bills on the counter, the uniform hanging by the door. Tomorrow might be different, but tonight she is simply exhausted. William's office overlooks Fifth Avenue. Floor-to-ceiling windows, the kind of view that costs more than most people's annual salary. He sits behind a desk crafted from reclaimed wood, expensive, but designed to appear unostentatious. Claire stands by the door. She's wearing the same uniform from last night, freshly pressed. "Sit," William says, not unkindly. She complies. 3 individuals are already in the room. Mr. Harrison from the previous night, a woman in her 40s with sharp eyes and a Mexican accent, Elena Rodriguez, according to the name on the portfolio before her, and Greg Miller, the shift manager, standing by the window with his arms crossed. William leans forward. "I'm facing a predicament," he states. "I'm midway through a transaction valued at $50 million with these 2 business associates. It involves Japanese expansion and Mexican markets. My interpreter canceled 2 hours ago due to food poisoning." He glides a stack of documents across the desk. 80-page contracts in English, Japanese, and Spanish versions. "This meeting commences in 30 minutes, William declares. "Should we fail to finalize this agreement today, it will unravel. 500 families rely on the employment opportunities this expansion will generate." He directs his gaze towards Claire. "Are you capable of real-time interpreting between 3 languages?" Greg emits a sound from the window, not quite a laugh, but nearly. "William, she's a waitress," he interjects. "This is a serious business negotiation. You require a professional." "She possesses a master's degree," William retorts, his eyes still fixed on Claire. "In linguistics," Greg quickly counters. "Not business, not finance. She'll be out of her depth." Claire glances at the contracts. Her hands instinctively want to tremble, but she suppresses the urge. "I can handle it," she asserts. The conference room is crafted from glass and steel. A table capacious enough for 20 individuals. Yet today, only 5 are present. William occupies the head. Mr. Harrison sits on one side with 2 of his associates. Elena is positioned on the other side with her assistant, and Claire is seated at a small table near the window with 3 distinct notepads. Greg observes from the doorway. Mr. Harrison initiates the conversation in rapidly spoken technical Japanese, discussing supply chain logistics, quality control concerns, and cultural nuances within the Tokyo market. He employs business terminology that most interpreters would struggle with. Claire flawlessly interprets into English, then into Spanish, without any hesitation. Every technical term is precise, every numerical value exact. Elena responds in swift Spanish, detailing pricing structures for the Mexico City expansion, regulatory considerations, and expected timelines. Claire interprets into English, then Japanese, maintaining the formal business tone adopted by Elena. The discussion progresses. 20 minutes in, Mr. Harrison uses an idiomatic expression. He speaks in Japanese, and Claire pauses for 3 seconds. Greg leans forward from the doorway, anticipating her failure. She interprets to Elena in Spanish, not by literal translation, but by skillfully conveying the meaning and cultural context. A subtitle appears. Mr. Harrison reminds us with a Japanese proverb that even experts make mistakes. He's indicating that he values honesty over perfection in this partnership. Mr. Harrison's face brightens. He remarks in English, "Precisely. You grasp the context, not just the words." Elena nods, smiles, and resumes speaking. The discourse flows. Figures are debated, terms are negotiated, documents are signed. 45 minutes later, Elena and Mr. Harrison shake hands across the table. Elena turns to William. "Where did you discover her? I require her contact information." Mr. Harrison adds, "I've collaborated with UN interpreters who weren't this adept." Greg remains in the doorway, his arms now uncrossed. He simply stares. William rises, shakes the hands of both partners, and accompanies them to the elevator. Upon his return, Claire is gathering her notepads. "That was truly impressive," William comments. "Thank you, sir." "Cease addressing me as sir. You just secured a $50 million deal." The staff room is compact and exudes the aroma of coffee and disappointment. Claire enters after the meeting, still carrying her notepads. She needs to change for her shift. Lunch service commences in 20 minutes. Greg is already present, as is Amber Johnson, another server, blonde, 25 years old, and perpetually vying for the most desirable tables. "So, you're conducting deals now?" Greg remarks, leaning against the lockers. "That's not your designated duty, Claire." Claire opens her locker and begins stowing her belongings. "Mr. Davis requested my assistance. I provided it." Amber laughs, a sound devoid of warmth. "Yes, and frankly, it's rather awkward. You flaunt your degrees and your linguistic abilities, and it makes the rest of us appear inadequate. We're supposed to function as a team here." Claire slowly turns around. "I didn't volunteer. I was asked, and I agreed because people's livelihoods depended on it. Isn't that our purpose here? To serve." Greg pushes away from the lockers. "You serve nourishment, not business agreements. Adhere to your designated role." The door opens. Richard Blake walks past in the corridor, heading towards the exit. He pauses upon hearing Greg's voice and peers into the staff room. For a moment, everyone freezes. Richard steps inside. The man who publicly humiliated Claire last night now stands in the staff room, appearing uncomfortable but resolute. "Actually, Greg," Richard begins, "allow me to pose a question. If Claire is proficient in 8 languages and can finalize a $50 million deal, why precisely is she exclusively serving food?" Greg opens his mouth, then closes it. Richard turns to Claire. "I was mistaken last night. Publicly mistaken. I humiliated you because I presumed I knew everything about you based on your appearance and attire." He takes a breath. "I am a businessman. I recognize talent when I encounter it, even when I'm initially too arrogant to acknowledge it. I apologize." Amber shifts uneasily. Greg gazes at the floor. "I don't require your apology," Claire states quietly. "But I appreciate it." Richard nods and departs. The staff room is momentarily silent. Then Greg attempts again. "Look, Claire, I'm simply stating that there are established protocols. We have systems in place here. You can't simply transition from serving to interpreting just because the boss requests it." Claire closes her locker and turns to face him fully. "I've been employed here for 18 months, she says. During that period, I've covered 52 additional shifts when colleagues called in sick. I translated your menu into 4 languages when you requested. I've never voiced a complaint. I didn't grandstand. I performed my duty." She pauses. If that causes discomfort for others, perhaps they should introspect on why. Greg has no reply. He leaves. Amber remains, scrutinizing Claire with an expression difficult to decipher. No longer overtly angry. Perhaps ashamed. "I wasn't aware," Amber finally says. "About Columbia. About your degree." "You never inquired," Claire responds. Then more softly, "Nobody did." William Davis appears in the doorway. He's been standing there for an unknown duration, his face impassive. "Claire," he instructs. "My office now." She follows him out, leaving Amber alone in the staff room. Sometimes, those who challenge you become the witnesses to your intrinsic value. Sometimes, an apology from an adversary resonates more profoundly than silence from a friend. And sometimes, the most arduous struggles are not against those who harbor animosity towards you. They are against those who simply never truly perceived you. 3 days later, Claire's name tag proudly displays new words beneath her name. Cultural Liaison, VIP Relations. She still attends to tables, but now she's assigned exclusively to international guests. Lunch service. A delegation of 6 executives from Osaka occupies table 4. They are disoriented by the menu, speaking rapidly in Japanese amongst themselves, attempting to ascertain the authenticity or Americanized nature of the dishes. Claire approaches, converses with them in Japanese, elucidating each dish, including every ingredient and the cultural context underpinning the fusion. She informs them how the chef trained in Tokyo before relocating to New York, and how he harmoniously blends traditional techniques with indigenous ingredients. The leader of the group, an elder gentleman with silver hair, looks up at her in astonishment. A subtitle appears. "This surpasses dining in Tokyo. You elucidated the American influence perfectly." When they depart, they leave a $500 tip and request her business card. An hour later, a Spanish-speaking family is seated at table 7. The grandmother, diminutive and anxious, does not speak English. Her grandchildren attempt to translate, but they are misinterpreting, causing her increasing frustration. Claire switches to Spanish, engaging the grandmother in conversation about her hometown, cherished food memories, and recipes handed down through generations. The elderly woman's countenance transforms. She begins to laugh, endearingly calling Claire something akin to "my daughter." When the family departs, they post a 5-star online review. "Finally felt truly acknowledged in a sophisticated restaurant. Claire brought happy tears to my grandmother's eyes. We will definitely return." By 3 Ma, a crisis erupts at table 10. A French diplomat faces a severe allergic reaction scare. Another server mistook the order, leading to a miscommunication about shellfish in the sauce. The kitchen is in a state of panic. Claire detects the error in the French to English translation before the food is served. She meticulously explains to the chef the diplomat's actual words versus the other server's misinterpretation. She averts a potential lawsuit, or perhaps something even graver. William observes all of this from his office window, meticulously taking notes. The communal tip jar now has a separate one specifically for Claire, overflowing by the conclusion of each shift. Other servers notice. Some regard her with admiration. Others, like Amber, look at her with an emotion more challenging to define. At the week's end, Mr. Harrison returns, accompanied by his wife this time. They specifically request Claire. "We return to see you," Mr. Harrison states. "My wife wished to meet the interpreter who preserved our deal." Mrs. Harrison is petite and elegant. She reaches into her purse, retrieving an omamori, a Japanese good luck charm for health. She hands it to Claire with both hands, speaking in formal Japanese. A subtitle appears. "For your mother's health. You mentioned her during our conversation." Claire receives it appropriately, with both hands and a slight bow. When she responds in Japanese, expressing her gratitude, her voice quivers just slightly. Mrs. Harrison's eyes also become moist. After they depart, Claire stands in the break room, holding the charm. It is small, silken, and red, faintly scented with incense. She reflects on her mother in the hospital bed, the accumulating medical bills, and the interview she has next week for a legitimate job that will likely not materialize. The charm feels warm in her hand. Value is not always quantifiable by titles or salaries. Sometimes it is measured in the grandmother who finally feels at home 3,000 miles from her village. Sometimes it is in the successfully concluded deal that otherwise would have failed. Sometimes it is in the small silk charm from a stranger who recalled your anguish. Sometimes it is in truly being seen. William's office at 9 p.m. The restaurant is shuttered. Light from Fifth Avenue street lamps casts elongated shadows across the refurbished wooden desk. Claire sits opposite him, still in her uniform, her feet aching from a 12-hour shift. On William's desk rest her printed resume, highlighted, a stack of customer feedback reports 2 inches thick, and a partially closed business plan document hinting at something significant. "What do you desire?" William inquires, his tone not aggressive but genuinely curious. "Not what you think I want to hear. What do you truly want?" Claire's initial impulse is to offer a safe response. "I'm grateful for the opportunity to." "That's not what I asked," William interjects gently. "Try again," she murmurs. "This is more challenging than speaking 8 languages. I want to leverage my degree. I want my mother to realize her sacrifices were meaningful. I want to wake up without feeling I'm squandering what I've built." William nods slowly, opens the business plan document, and slides it across the desk. "I'm expanding the Sterling Group into Asia Pacific. 6 new locations: Tokyo, Seoul, Shanghai, Singapore, Hong Kong, Bangkok." He pauses. "I need a director of international relations." The title hangs in the air between them. "Director, the position is yours if you want it. Starting salary $140,000, full benefits. You'll oversee all international partnerships, manage cultural integration, train staff, and handle cross-cultural communication." He turns a page. "And here's the part I care about most. I'm establishing a scholarship fund, the Claire Williams Scholarship, for hospitality workers pursuing advanced degrees. You'll manage it." Claire's hand trembles as she reaches for the document. The city lights blur through the window. She blinks, and tears fall onto the page. "Why me?" she asks. "You have HR departments, headhunters, individuals who've been doing this for years." William leans back in his chair. A black and white photograph sits on his desk. A young man washing dishes in a kitchen. 40 years ago, I was you. I washed dishes with a business degree from McGill University. No one inquired about it. No one cared. He gazes at the photo. Until one person did. That person changed my life. He looks back at Claire. "Now I'm asking you, will you allow me to be that person for you? And then, will you become that person for others?" He stands, extending his hand across the desk. Not a handshake between boss and employee, but between equals. Claire stands. Her grip is firm. "There's one thing," she says. "Greg, Amber, they're not going to be pleased about this." "That's not your concern," William states. "It's mine, and it's already resolved. Leadership isn't about finding perfect people. It's about recognizing perfection in individuals others have overlooked. It's about recalling a time when you were invisible and ensuring you never overlook someone the way people overlooked you." The handshake lasts 3 seconds. In that brief moment, everything changes. The hospital room is compact, permeated by the scent of disinfectant and dwindling hope. Diane sits in her wheelchair by the window. An oxygen tube connects her nose to the steadily beeping machine. Claire enters with takeout and flowers. It's 2 in the morning. She's just left William's office and driven directly here. "Baby, you're late," Diane says. "I was worried." "Mama, I have to tell you something." Diane's face adopts the familiar expression she uses when bracing for bad news. An expression Claire has seen too often. More treatments, more bills, more impossible choices. I got promoted, Claire announces, the words feeling foreign in her mouth. A director of international relations, 6 figures, benefits, and they're naming a scholarship after me. Diane is silent for a moment, then says, "Say that again. The last part." "They're naming a scholarship after me, Mama. The Claire Williams Scholarship." Diane's hand flies to her mouth. Tears flow instantly, unbidden. "They're putting your name on something. Your actual name?" Claire nods, now also crying. "Baby." Diane reaches for Claire's hand, the IV tube trailing. Plastic, tape, and medical necessity. "I always knew. When you were 6 years old reading library books in 3 languages, I knew. Even when the bills piled up and you had to take that waitressing job, I knew." She removes her wedding ring, a simple gold band, worn thin from 40 years of wear. She places it in Claire's palm. "Your father gave me this when we had nothing. He made me promise something. If our babies thrive, if they get to fly, we let them go." She closes Claire's fingers around the ring. "You're not taking care of me anymore. I'm sending you out. Fly, baby." "Mama, I can't take this." "It's not for keeping. It's for remembering. Remember where you came from. Remember who you're flying for." The fluorescent lights are harsh, but their faces are softly framed by the window. The pearl necklace around Claire's neck catches the light. 3 generations. Her grandmother's, her mother's, now hers. The ring is warm in her hand. Success isn't about forgetting your origins. It's about carrying that place with you, in your pocket or around your neck, or in the way you speak to people who remind you of your mother. It's about building a ladder back for others, rung by rung, hand over hand, until everyone can ascend. 6 weeks later, Tokyo. The grand opening of Sterling Tokyo, the flagship restaurant for the Asia-Pacific expansion. 200 VIP guests. Japanese dignitaries, press, investors, cultural ambassadors. The kind of event that defines a company's international reputation. This is Claire's first major event as Director of International Relations. William is present, but he allows her to lead, standing at the back, arms crossed, observing. Greg is also there, demoted to assistant manager following an internal investigation into workplace harassment. He's supposed to be assisting with staff coordination, but instead watches Claire with resentment etched into his face. Amber is still employed, but on her final warning, avoiding eye contact. 30 minutes before the doors open, the event coordinator Sarah rushes into the prep room, her face panicked. She speaks to Claire in rapid Japanese. A subtitle appears. "The menus, they're all wrong. Someone changed the translations. These are insults." Claire grabs a menu, her hands turning cold. The Japanese text does not match what should be there. The translations are offensive, deliberately incorrect. 20 items sabotaged. William overhears. "Who had access to the final files?" Across the room, Greg glances at his phone, not quite smiling, but close. Amber stares at her shoes. Another staff member runs in. "The interpreter we hired isn't coming. Food poisoning." Claire checks her phone. 15 missed calls from the printer. She calls back. "How long to reprint 200 menus correctly?" 3 hours minimum. Guests arrive in 25 minutes. William approaches. His face is calm, but his eyes are sharp. This is a test, and they both know it. "What do you need from me?" Claire looks at the sabotaged menus, at the arriving guests visible through the windows, at Greg smirking by the bar, at her team awaiting instructions. "Nothing," she says. "I need 20 minutes, a computer, your blessing to improvise, and trust." "You have all 4, William confirms. Claire turns to Sarah. "Collect every printed menu, destroy them. Set up tablets at each table with QR codes to our website and tell the guests there's going to be something special tonight." Sarah hesitates. "What's special?" Me, Claire replies. The guests arrive, confusion apparent when they see no menus, only tablets with QR codes. Whispers begin. Technical problems, poor planning. Claire walks to the center of the room. She wears a black dress, professional yet elegant, her hair up. Her grandmother's pearl necklace is visible, and her mother's wedding ring hangs on a chain beside it. She speaks in perfect formal Japanese, offering a traditional greeting and 45 seconds of cultural acknowledgement, showing respect to dignitaries and gratitude for their attendance. A subtitle translates her words. Then she shifts. Honored guests, the subtitle reads. Tonight you will experience something unique. Not a menu you read, but a menu you journey through with me. She proceeds to describe each course, 12 dishes, each a story. She explains the cultural fusion, the American techniques meeting Japanese tradition. She uses humor appropriate for business settings. She engages specific guests by name, her research from weeks prior now paying off. The room is utterly silent save for her voice. William stands at the back, arms still crossed, but smiling. Greg's smirk fades. Chefs peer from the kitchen. Camera phones begin recording. The governor of Tokyo whispers to his aide. Both watch Claire as if she's performing magic. Midway through the menu presentation, Claire does something unexpected. She switches to English briefly. The subtitle reads, Now I'd like to hear from you. For those who speak languages other than Japanese or English, I invite you to share. What is one dish from your childhood you'd like to see fusion with what we serve tonight? A Korean businessman stands, speaking about kimchi pairing. Claire responds in Korean, translating back to Japanese for the entire room. A French diplomat mentions bouillabaisse technique. Claire responds in French, translates to Japanese. A Chinese investor discusses Szechuan spice balance. Claire responds in Mandarin, translates to Japanese. The room erupts in spontaneous applause mid-presentation, unprecedented. A food critic furiously types on her phone. 3 investors are already approaching William about expanding to more cities. The governor requests a private meeting with Claire. After the guests are seated and eating, William finds Greg in the staff corridor. You have 2 options, William says, his voice quiet but audible to everyone nearby. Resign tonight with a neutral reference or be terminated with cause for sabotage. You have 5 minutes. Greg opens his mouth. How did you... Security cameras, IT logs. Did you truly believe we wouldn't ascertain who modified those files? Amber steps forward. I advised him against it. I possess textual evidence. Claire, passing by to attend to guests, pauses. I believe you, Amber, and I'm pleased you rediscovered your conscience, but trust is reinstated gradually. The governor of Tokyo approaches as Claire re-enters the main room. He is elderly, distinguished, potent. He converses in English. Miss Williams, I represent the Tokyo Culinary Institute. We require multilingual hospitality instructors. Would you consider teaching 1 semester annually? We will provide appropriate remuneration. Claire looks at William. He nods. I would be honored, Governor. By the culmination of the evening, Sterling Tokyo has forged alliances with 3 prominent corporations, garnered 15 5-star reviews before the dessert course was even presented, and trended on Japanese social media with a hashtag translating to menu storyteller. Greg resigned. Amber is under probationary status. The sabotage failed because the individual they attempted to undermine was already indefatigable. They sought to disrupt her moment. Instead, she constructed a bridge with her voice. For preparation meets opportunity only when you decline to permit others to define your limitations. Because occasionally, the most effective response to sabotage is an excellence so irrefutable that it converts adversaries into inconsequential footnotes. 3 months subsequent, the Sterling Group Annual Gala, New York Hilton Grand Ballroom, 500 attendees, staff, investors, partners, press, civic officials, with chandeliers the size of automobiles. The type of event where fortunes are altered and legacies commence. Theme: shattering barriers, forging connections. William Davis stands at the podium delivering the keynote address. Claire is seated in the front section of the audience, unaware of what's to come. She wears the identical black dress from Tokyo, the pearl necklace, the ring on the chain. Her mother, Diane, is in a wheelchair beside her, an oxygen tank discreetly concealed beneath a drape. This marks Diane's first public appearance in 2 years. She insisted on attending. William's voice reverberates through the room. When I arrived in this nation at 19, I possessed $200 and a dream. No one acknowledged my business degree from McGill University. They perceived a dishwasher, and I was grateful for that employment because it sustained me. He pauses. The room is attentive, yet they have heard this narrative previously. But here is what perturbs me. How many brilliant dishwashers did I work alongside who never received a second glance? How many PhD holders serve your coffee? How many polyglots operate your Uber? The atmosphere shifts. People lean forward. Tonight, I wish to share with you someone who nearly became another unnoticed genius. The video screen behind him illuminates. Claire's Columbia diploma, her thesis title page, footage from the Tokyo opening, her speaking multiple languages, customer testimonials and video clips, revenue charts displaying a 23% increase in international bookings across 6 cities. Claire Williams, master's degree, 8 languages. Employed by us for 18 months as a server before anyone troubled themselves to inquire who she was. Some members of the audience appear uncomfortable. They have dined at the Sterling Room. They never asked their server anything beyond more water. That deficiency rests with me, with us, with a system that prioritizes uniforms over individuals. He allows that sentiment to linger for 3 seconds, long enough to sting. Tonight, I am announcing that the Claire Williams Scholarship Fund is officially endowed with $2 million. It will support 20 hospitality workers annually pursuing higher education. Claire herself will direct the fund because who is better equipped to discover latent talent than someone who was once latent herself? Applause. Claire is weeping in her seat. Diane grasps her hand, squeezing. Claire, could you please come up here? The procession to the stage feels protracted. 500 people standing, applauding. Camera flashes, her mother crying in the front row. William awaiting at the podium. He presents her with an oversized ceremonial check. $2 million, the Claire Williams Scholarship Fund. Then William utters something unexpected. Recall that evening 3 months ago? A man offered you $100,000 to speak Chinese? You did, and he never paid. Richard Blake rises from his seat in the audience. Every head turns. He walks to the stage. People whisper, "Is this prearranged? What is transpiring?" Richard takes the microphone. He appears older than he did 3 months prior. Weary but clear-eyed. That night, I was the worst iteration of myself. I humiliated someone based on preconceptions about her ethnicity, her education, her worth. He turns to Claire. You could have annihilated me on social media. You could have initiated legal action. You did neither. He addresses the entire room now. Instead, she demonstrated to me what grace entails. So, here is what I am undertaking. He produces a check, a genuine one this time. Hands it to Claire. $100,000 to you personally as guaranteed because a wager is a wager. Then he produces a second, larger check. And $500,000 to your scholarship fund because I desire to be part of the resolution, not the predicament. The room gasps, then erupts, applause thundering. Claire covers her mouth. Diane is standing from her wheelchair, oxygen tube and all, clapping so vehemently her hands must ache. Former servers from the Sterling Room, disseminated throughout the audience, give a standing ovation. Some are weeping. Someone begins chanting, "Claire, Claire!" Others join. Claire steps to the microphone, composes herself. The room quiets. I have so many individuals to express gratitude to. But first, I must state this. She looks directly at the camera, at the live stream broadcasting to thousands. To every person performing a job that doesn't align with your degree, every talent that feels unrecognized, every dream postponed due to financial obligations or unfortunate timing. Her voice intensifies. You are not your job title. You are not your current circumstances. You are the aggregate of what you have endured, what you have assimilated, and who you steadfastly continue to become. The applause swells, but she is not finished. Do not await permission to be brilliant. Be brilliant regardless. Someone is observing. Someone will inquire, and when they do, be prepared, because your moment is not approaching. It is already here. You simply cannot discern it yet. She looks at William. Mr. Davis, you once asked me what I desired. Here is my response. I want to establish an army of individuals like myself. I want every restaurant in America to feature a cultural liaison role. I want linguistic proficiencies valued akin to business degrees. And I want to commence tomorrow. William grins. Then let us begin. They shake hands. The room erupts once more. What transpires next is a blur. Diane wheeled onto the stage, Claire embracing her while 500 individuals witness a mother's aspiration materializing. Servers from the Sterling Room queuing to offer congratulations. Elena Rodriguez and Mr. Harrison presenting flowers. Their partnerships now permanent fixtures. Amber, reformed and humble, waiting in line to offer a proper apology. Claire embraces her. Forgiveness granted. The concluding moment. Claire removing the wedding ring from the chain around her neck and slipping it back onto her mother's finger. I did not forget, she whispers. I am still ascending for you. The banner unfurls behind them. First annual Claire Williams Scholarship recipients. 20 visages, 20 narratives, 20 individuals on the cusp of seizing their opportunity. This is not a tale of one woman's triumph. It represents a system beginning to awaken, eyes initiating sight, portals commencing to open, and the simple revolutionary act of asking someone, who are you truly? The following morning, Claire's new office, the nameplate on the door reads, Claire Williams, Director of International Relations. Inside, the framed Columbia diploma finally adorns the wall after 2 years in a closet. A photograph of her and Diane at the gala, both shedding happy tears. Her desk holds 20 scholarship applications, the inaugural batch, each one a chronicle of latent brilliance awaiting acknowledgement. People continually ask her how it feels to transform from unseen to celebrated overnight. She informs them it was not overnight. It encompassed 10,000 nights of refusing to disregard who she was. It necessitated choosing to remain astute even when the world conveyed she was dull. It was her mother's voice reiterating, "Not yet does not signify never." It involved every language acquired in secrecy, every skill preserved in silence, every instance of dignity maintained while conveying plates for individuals who never gazed upon her face. 6 months subsequent to the gala, the ripple effects are irrefutable. Sterling locations across 12 cities now employ cultural liaisons, 38 positions filled. Every single individual possesses a bachelor's degree or higher. Collectively, they speak 27 languages. Customer satisfaction has risen by 34%. But the statistics do not convey the complete narrative. The genuine narrative belongs to Jordan Brooks, a black server in Dallas who observed the job posting and retrieved his engineering degree from his locker where it had been concealed for 3 years. He is now the cultural liaison for Sterling Dallas, utilizing his fluent Spanish and Arabic to revolutionize how the restaurant serves its diverse community. The genuine narrative resides in the Williams Scholarship inbox. 4,000 applications in year 1. A Syrian refugee who speaks 5 languages and works as a janitor. A single mother who is an ESL teacher speaking 4 languages but cleans houses to afford rent. A veteran who was an Arabic translator but now operates trucks because no one would hire him without corporate experience. The genuine narrative involves William and Claire in a boardroom with HR heads from 12 sterling locations, examining data that substantiates what should have been self-evident. The individuals serving your sustenance, cleaning your offices, driving your vehicles might be the most educated people in the room. You simply never inquired. 1 year later, Claire delivers a TEDx talk at Columbia University. The language of invisible excellence. 500 people in the audience. Students who resemble her, professionals who have occupied her prior position. The video goes viral. 3 million views in 2 weeks. In the talk, she articulates something that becomes the most frequently quoted statement. Your worth is not determined by who perceives it first. It is determined by whether you safeguard it while you await. Now, Claire addresses the camera directly, shattering the fourth wall, gazing intently at you. If you are viewing this, I urge you to take action. Not tomorrow, but today. Observe the individual who prepares your coffee, who tidies your workspace, who scans your groceries, and ponder, what remains unknown to me about them? She inclines forward. Even better, inquire of them. What's your story? Just 3 words. That is all. You might be astounded by what you discover. You could uncover the next corporate leader working behind a cash register, the subsequent chief executive officer operating your rideshare vehicle, the next prodigy delivering your meals. The camera recedes. Claire is situated in the Sterling room, with servers circulating around her. Several languages are being uttered simultaneously. It's not pandemonium, but rather a symphony, distinct voices collaborating to construct something significant. This narrative is not extraordinary because I commanded 8 languages. It is extraordinary because for a year and a half, no one inquired if I spoke even one. She pauses. The world abounds with overlooked experts, unseen ingenuity, and untapped capabilities like Claire. They are not anticipating charitable contributions. They are anticipating someone to acknowledge them. Ah, the concluding frame. Claire and William are depicted standing side by side before the scholarship banner. 40 visages now instead of 20. The initiative is broadening. The objective is expanding. The transformation is subtle yet inexorable. Will you be the one to observe? Text materializes on the screen. The Claire Williams Scholarship has provided assistance to 60 students within its initial 18 months. Sterling Group has established 89 cultural liaison roles across the nation. Richard Blake now finances language instruction initiatives in New York City public schools. Greg Miller tendered his resignation. Amber Johnson successfully completed sensitivity training and continues her employment at Sterling. Humbled and improved. Should you know someone whose aptitude is unnoticed, tag them. Inquire about their narrative. Embody the William Davis in someone's existence. Not yet does not signify never. Your opportunity is approaching. Remain prepared. The screen transitions to black, then displays white text. What is your true nature?